Right at the beginning of the film, an incredibly cute baby is born into the world. Her mother names her Hercules. In this ancient era, people worshipped the king of gods, Zeus, and as it turns out, this baby is actually a demigod born as the true son of Zeus. However, Zeus's wife, the queen of Olympus, knows the truth, that this child carries divine blood but belongs to the realm of mortals. As Hercules grows into a toddler, the queen decides to eliminate him, sending 2 venomous serpents to end his life. But carrying the blood of Zeus, Hercules possesses superhuman strength even as a child. Before the snakes can even strike, Hercules crushes them both with his bare hands. The story then jumps forward to show Hercules grown into a powerful, muscular adult. The king of the land assigns him a series of impossible, deadly trials. Hercules, fearless as ever, takes on these heroic missions one after another. In his first challenge, he wrestles a terrifying monster and totally overpowers it. He continues his journey, defeating countless legendary beasts along the way. Eventually, he confronts a deadly lion whose hide is so tough that no arrow can pierce it. Using nothing but his raw physical strength, Hercules overpowers the lion and puts an end to it. The scene shifts to a nearby village where local captors have tightly bound a young boy to a post. This boy happens to be Hercules' nephew. Arriving just in time, Hercules tears through the captors, killing them all and freeing his nephew. Later, while Hercules is resting with his crew, a princess from a neighboring kingdom approaches him. She begs for his help, explaining that their kingdom is under siege, their own men have betrayed them, and war is tearing their land apart, leaving countless innocent people dead. One of Hercules' mercenary companions speaks up, saying, "We don't have time for charity right now, but we can fight for you if the price is right." The princess tries to appeal to their honor, stating that fighting in this battle is a noble cause. But Hercules bluntly responds, "We need gold to fund our weapons." The princess assures them that her father, the king, is extremely wealthy and can offer them a massive fortune in gold. With the deal struck, Hercules and his team set off for her kingdom. Upon arrival, Hercules notices a colossal stone statue dedicated to Zeus's wife, which the princess notes took 5 whole years to build. Throughout the city, the locals are skeptical about Hercules being the literal son of Zeus, but to the princess's young son, Hercules is nothing short of a legendary hero. The king explains the dire situation. His closest advisor betrayed him, sparking a bloody civil war across the realm. They desperately need Hercules to restore order. The king also drops a terrifying detail. The rebel leader isn't just an ordinary warlord, but a powerful dark wizard whom no mortal man can defeat. He even claims that legendary centaurs fight within the rebel ranks. Hearing this, a female member of Hercules' team asks, "Where are these mythical creatures?" The king's commander admits, "We haven't seen them with our own eyes or found their hideout. We've only heard the terrifying rumors." Realizing the kingdom's troops have no real combat experience, Hercules and his companions take charge of training the king's army. Hercules instructs the soldiers, "Form a tight line and lock your shields together like a solid wall." To test them, one of Hercules' muscular teammates charges full speed into the shield wall, easily smashing right through their formation. Hercules shakes his head, telling them, "That wall is way too weak. If you fight like this on the battlefield, you'll all be slaughtered." As Hercules continues to train the recruits, news arrives that the enemy forces are already marching toward them. Knowing the army isn't ready, Hercules advises against rushing into war, warning that a premature battle will leave nothing left of the kingdom. But the king insists on fighting, believing that killing the enemy quickly is the only way to bring peace. That night, the princess's young son sneaks out to meet Hercules, whom he worships as a hero. The boy proudly tells him, "I'm your biggest fan. When I grow up, I want to be just like you." Touched by the boy's innocence, Hercules takes off his personal locket and places it around the child's neck, saying, "I originally kept this for my own son, but now it belongs to you." The next morning, the army marches toward the enemy's stronghold. Along the way, they come across a horrific sight, decapitated human heads hanging from trees. The king claims the enemy warlord did this to instill fear in their hearts. Hercules recommends they proceed cautiously on foot, and the troops advance carefully. However, Hercules notices something suspicious. The decaying heads aren't from recent kills. They've been dead for weeks. It was a psychological trap designed to distract them. Suddenly, wild tribesmen ambush them from the surrounding hills. Hercules is stunned, realizing that the very villagers they came to protect are attacking them. It turns out the Dark Wizard had brainwashed these tribal people to fight for him. A brutal, chaotic battle breaks out, but Hercules charges into the fray, cutting down enemy lines with sheer brute force. Hercules single-handedly turns the tide and annihilates the attackers. Despite the victory, the king is devastated because most of his inexperienced soldiers were wiped out. Hercules sternly tells him, "I warned you they weren't ready for war." The king reluctantly agrees. Meanwhile, Hercules is tormented by deep depression and severe insomnia. Every night he is haunted by vivid nightmares of his family's brutal murder and visions of a terrifying three-headed beast. Confiding in a teammate, Hercules mentions a strange encounter he had before arriving here. He reveals he met a mystical oracle who delivers messages from the gods and foretells the future. The oracle had warned him that he must complete an unfinished destiny. Distraught by his past, Hercules tries to ignore the prophecy. Years ago, his wife and 3 children were brutally slaughtered, and Hercules was framed for the crime, leading to his exile. Shaking off his demons, Hercules leads the remaining army to confront the enemy forces. At first, it looks like Hercules' makeshift army is going to be completely overrun. Against all odds, the trained recruits hold the line and secure a shocking victory. Seeing his forces collapse, the enemy warlord charges directly at Hercules to finish him off. But Hercules effortlessly sweeps him off his horse and takes him captive, bringing him before the king. The captured warlord protests, saying, "You've chained the wrong man, I never attacked your kingdom." Hercules asks, "If you're innocent, who did this?" The warlord replies, "Open your eyes. If the king you're fighting for is so noble and powerful, why didn't his own elite guards fight alongside you? Why did he need mercenaries to do his dirty work? The man you're fighting for is a ruthless tyrant." That night, a grand victory celebration takes place where the king crowns himself ruler of the newly expanded empire. The captured warlord is thrown in chains, humiliated and mocked by the court. Watching this, the princess feels a deep sense of guilt and pity for the prisoner. Hercules notices her reaction, walks over and asks, "Why are you feeling sorry for him? You can tell me the truth." The princess breaks down and confesses everything. "My late husband was the rightful king of this land, but my father poisoned him to steal the throne. This captive warlord was actually my husband's most loyal commander. He rebelled against my father to avenge the assassination. He's innocent. My father is the true monster." She explains that she stayed silent because her father holds her young son hostage as leverage. She desperately begs Hercules, "Please, take my son away from here and train him to be a hero like you." Just then, the king's royal guard approaches and tells Hercules, "The king demands your presence." Hercules walks into the throne room, where the tyrant proudly boasts, "I am thrilled. You turned a peasant militia into an unstoppable force. My armies will now use your tactics to conquer the entire known world, and I want you to be my top commander." Hercules cold shoulders him and flatly refuses. The king shrugs it off, saying, "Fine, take your gold and get out. As emperor, I don't need arrogant mercenaries like you anyway." Hercules and his team pack up their massive bags of gold and head for the city gates. As they walk through the village, they see the heartbroken faces of the locals who genuinely loved Hercules for giving them hope and teaching them how to survive. Moved by their plight, Hercules suddenly hurls his bag of gold onto the ground, declaring, "I'm staying. These people need me." One of his mercenary teammates yells in frustration, "Are you insane? We got the gold. Let's just leave." Unbothered, the rest of Hercules' loyal crew throw their gold away too, choosing to stand by his side. Only the greedy teammate takes his loot and rides off alone. Hercules and his squad march straight into the palace to confront the tyrant, but they are instantly ambushed and surrounded by royal guards. The king's commander steps forward, revealing that he overheard the princess begging Hercules to take her son away. Furious at the betrayal, the king snatches his grandson away from his daughter. A guard strikes Hercules from behind, knocking him unconscious. When Hercules wakes up, he finds himself heavily bound in thick iron chains. Standing before him is the ruler of his former homeland, the very king who raised him. It turns out this king had hired Hercules for countless battles, promising they would rule the world together, but he brought 3 savage black wolves with him, whose terrifying howls match the exact sound Hercules hears in his nightmares. Hercules realizes in horror that these wolves were present the night his wife and children were killed. The tyrant king was the mastermind behind his family's massacre. Hercules demands to know why, and the evil king smugly admits, "I was the ruler, yet the people worshipped you for your bravery and heroism. I couldn't just execute you without starting a rebellion, so I slaughtered your family and framed you for it, making the public hate you so they would turn back to me." Enraged by the truth, Hercules boils with fury, but the heavy chains hold him tight. The tyrant king then orders the execution of everyone, starting with his own daughter, the princess. Desperate to save her, Hercules struggles against his bonds. His loyal companions shout through their cells, "You can do this, Hercules! If you give up now, we all die!" Channeling his divine bloodline, Hercules roars with rage and physically snaps the massive iron chains off the stone pillars. He sprints forward and saves the princess just as the blade falls. The king releases the 3 monstrous wolves to tear Hercules apart, but Hercules uses his insane strength to slaughter all 3 beasts. He quickly frees his companions and the innocent warlord. Realizing the tide has turned, both evil kings flee deeper into the palace. Hercules hunts down the king who murdered his family and impales him, giving him the exact same brutal end he inflicted on Hercules' wife and kids. Hercules then leads his crew to the main courtyard, where the remaining tyrant king stands guarded by his massive army. At the top of the palace stairs, an executioner holds a dagger directly against the young prince's throat. The king gives the order to execute the boy. Suddenly an arrow flies through the air, striking the executioner dead. It's Hercules' greedy teammate. He couldn't leave his friends behind and return just in time to save the child. Enraged, the tyrant king orders his entire army to wipe Hercules out. A bloody battle erupts, during which Hercules' brave archer friend takes a fatal blow and dies protecting the group. The enemy army pushes forward, but Hercules' squad forms an unbreakable shield wall holding back the wave of soldiers. Realizing they need a decisive strike, Hercules turns toward the giant stone statue of Zeus's wife, towering over the courtyard. Wrapping his arms around the base, Hercules flexes his godlike strength and pushes the massive statue off its pedestal. The colossal stone structure collapses down the stairs, crushing the tyrant king beneath tons of rubble and sending his army scattering in terror. Seeing Hercules conquer an entire empire with his bare hands, the remaining soldiers and citizens fall to their knees in awe. Whether Hercules was truly the literal son of Zeus didn't matter anymore. His unmatched courage, strength, and heart made him a true hero in the eyes of the people. With peace finally restored, the kingdom honors Hercules as their ultimate protector. And that wraps up the story of Hercules. Thanks for watching.